Dr. Amrish Sharma. Now I would like to invite my next panelist guest, and he's Mr. PKD Nambiar. Mr. PKD Nambiar is a marketing strategist and political analyst. He is the managing director and CEO of Flex Communications. He is the chairman B Square Group. Armed with over 20 years of experience as an entrepreneur, marketing strategist, and a political analyst, Mr. PKD Nambiar is a name to reckon within the industry. He is also renowned as a startup, turnaround, and growth specialist in the corporate sector. Furthermore, he is a sharp communication strategist for the SME sector. He has addressed various prominent political debates, forums, colleges, and corporates across the country. He shares his valuable opinions on political, social, and business issues and has appeared on numerous news channels including NDTV 24/7, CNN News 18, News X, Times Now, CNBC, India News, India Ahead, etc. Some of his well-known programs include New Age Leadership, The Brand You too can be an entrepreneur. His expertise lies in strategic planning and brand building. He excels the whole gamut of marketing and 360-degree advertising functional parameters. With the vision to deliver excellence in every chosen undertaking, Mr. Nambiar is hands-on in all aspects of the advertising, planning, management of ATL, BTL, and online advertising. Being the professional marketing strategist, he works with the marketing team members to assure the accurately execution of high-quality marketing strategies within that defined time frame. He is a powerful political strategist committed to delivering sincere political conversation in the major news channel debates and discussions, as well as taking a defined lead in making Indian youth aware of relevant political affairs. Being a motivational speaker, he believes that Indian youth has got the immense potential to transform the downfall scenario of our country into a noticeable one by making their endeavors that will play a crucial role in the growth of the nation in every aspect. When India calls itself a young nation, youth in India should not be left unexplored. His consistent efforts in bringing the fruitful voices of youth is implementing a change as well as helping to fill this void, contributing meaningfully in the future of our nation. Welcome, Mr. PKD Nambiar, on our show. Mr. PKD Nambiar, you have heard what our earlier panelist guest, Professor Dr. Amrish Sharma, has spoken. Now, you being a marketing strategist and political analyst, as well as you are dealing with the companies, startups, and you know the current situation, the present situations. Now, our topic is Shri Krishna philosophy relevant now? Definitely, we would like to know your views. Mr. PKD Nambiar, please. Mr. Nambiar?
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Goyal and Dr. Bose, also Dr. Amrish Sharma. Thank you so much for having on an auspicious occasion. We are having this discussion. So I think there can't be a better day to discuss about the Krishna and Krishna's philosophy or whatever way. No one, and to me, this topic is somewhere very relevant, somewhat it is irrelevant. The reason being, for me, Krishna is not, it's Lord Krishna. The Krishna is the God for me. The God is always relevant, and God will always be relevant. As long as this universe is there, as long as we all are here, so everything what you may have learned so far, and which may be an infinite, nobody knows the depth of what the Krishnas preach and philosophy. And I am no one, and I'm neither an expert on Bhagavad Gita or on the Krishna's life to talk about. But as I believe that the Ram and Krishna, or the Shiva and etc. are imbibed in every human being in this nation. So am I. So we all born with the qualities or the preachers of Krishna, all of us. But then the second part of it is that what I said, that somewhat I feel that this topic is extremely good. Are we really talking about the philosophy, and what is the real philosophy of Krishna, and how does that connects to in the today's life, or how practically it can be implemented? Because there is a way of the new age people in our country, predominantly the English speaking people, or the Hindi speaking or the other regional language speaking youth, do feel that anything which is Hindi or their regional language is old, or when it comes to Sanskrit, it is even further old. So, and then anyway, I don't think that none of us needs to correct that. Nature will take its own natural course correction to these kind of a thought process. That's the way the generations truly derive. So to me, the philosophy of Krishna is not exactly just Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita may have been a codified, a large number of the life, how it should be, a human life, how it should be. It may be preaching anything and everything related to a true life and the very objective of life. But however, to me, the life of Krishna, as we all have been heard so far, itself is the philosophy of Krishna, not just limited to Bhagavad Gita and the verses. Now, the idea of what is that basic philosophy, according to me, of the Krishna, which again, as I said, that many people talks about Bhagavad Gita, as many people talks about the life of Krishna, will give a different meaning to it. That is the beauty of the very philosophy, what the learning of Krishna's life or to all of us. So one, and the most important, is the karma. Now, what is the karma means in today's life and in the older time, or even the time when the Krishna was here, as we all believe. Karma in today's life is that both, whether it is Mr. Goyal or whether it is Nambiar or whether it is Dr. Bose, to all of us, we are in a rat race of life, wherein we forget about the karma, but we only think about the result. In the corporate world, or in the world wherein, even not only in the corporate world, even in the normal life, today, even from a farmer to a factory worker to a businessman to a scientist and everybody, we talk about the goal, but not the way to reach that goal. We don't talk about we always talk about the result, but the way to achieve that result in what means. So the differentiation between the two things is that when you look at the result, what happens, you only get stress, because you are only and only looking at the result of what you wanted to, but you are not enjoying the way you wanted to achieve that result. So the karma, according to me, is that a feeling wherein which you need to enjoy what you are doing, and it should be a right thing. And while you enjoy and being happily doing so, you will automatically reach to the result. But unfortunately, the modern theory of marketing or the modern theory of management is teaching all of us is that the result is more important. Just like the way the communist says that the way you do, how you achieve that is not important, but more to the aim is more important. But whether it is in the Gita or whether it is the Krishna's life, clearly says to all of us that how passionately you do, how committed you are to your karma, that is more important. If you are not doing, if you may be achieving a result, but if you are not passionate about what you are doing, like Dr. Goyal has been doing more than 2,000 shows, I was told that you have done, but I can see that how happily you are doing it, so that you are enjoying it. You are not just worried about how many million views you have for this show. So that is precisely, maybe that could be because of that you are a person from the birthplace of the Lord Krishna, Mathura. That could be one of the reasons. But the problem of today is that we only look at the result, and we don't enjoy the travel to reach to that result. So I feel the first philosophy, according to me, of the Lord Krishna on this Janmashtami is the karma, but the karma of today should be enjoyed in its fullest, so that the result automatically happens. Do not work for the result. And I somewhat try and practice it, because I always feel that you have so much of a traffic, you wanted to reach to the airport, but then you know that maybe those traffics are not going to be, it's not going to be anymore that all is going to be vanished, but you will reach automatically. But the way you travel to that place, how much you can enjoy, is the real happiness. So the karma is one thing which I feel is the most important part of the teaching of Krishna, which is so relevant today, which is so relevant for tomorrow, which was always relevant, which will always remain relevant for the times to come. Then the second part, I believe, Dr. Goyal, is that the dharma. So what we call in English is the righteousness. So what is the righteousness? The righteousness is that how you live your life. The righteousness is about the dharma, is not about the technical Sanskrit meaning of dharma, but how honest you are. Dharma do not require to have any religion or a belief system. It has nothing to do with any god or a prayer, but it is a practice you practice as a human being in your daily life. How honest you are, how pure you are, your thought process are pure. Today's world has made us think that even if I meet somebody, I will be looking with an objective of what can I get from that particular person, what I am going to give. More than that, you always look at everybody is from an eye of that, what can I get? I interviewed maybe more than 2,000 people since I run an enterprise. I always find 99.9% of the people who comes for an interview today ask as an employer to me that what they wanted from me. Maybe a lakh of salary, maybe 50,000, maybe 2 lakhs, and etc. But you ask them, what can you give me back? An assured one. Nobody is able to say. I think that is the biggest teaching, that the dharma is all about how good will you are, what kind of a good will you carry, what kind of a merciness, what you look at another being on the other side, not as very crude and cruel, but the kind of merciness what you have, how patient you are, and how sincere you are, and how much self-restrained you are, is the one will define your dharma, and that dharma of you will be defining the character of you, and it is relevant, it will be relevant. The Krishna has given us this, taught all of us through his life, as Dr. Ambrish was talking about, from the one who was born in a jail, in almost every possible way of the worst kind of an atmosphere and a climate, but was a messenger, was a great lover, was one of the best. I mean, हर बच्चे को हर कोई कृष्ण कन्हैया बुलाना चाहते हैं, या मलयालम में हो, तेलुगु में हो, या हर लैंग्वेज में बच्चे को तो आप कृष्ण कन्हैया बुलाना चाहता है, because that's the ultimate childhoodness one can ever imagine. That could be, I wanted my son to be like a Krishna, and so as you, or so as everybody else. So that kind of a child, the child or an adulthood, and from a messenger to a Sarathi, to a king. And I think the Krishna has told us what dharma for an individual is all about. The second, the third most important thing which I feel is all about the universal love. Love is a word every day we all hear. I mean, maybe the people like me would be saying that quite often, I love you. Sometimes I feel the value and the meaning of the word love is disappeared completely, because I love you, and which has become more of like a generic word. So the love is universal love. What Krishna is preaching, Krishna's philosophy is all about universal love. What is that universal love? So if you really look at it, it was not about the love for Gopikas or just Radha. He loved, as much as he loved Radha, he also loved the cows, Gopikas, and to everyone. So from love to an animal, love to a plant, love to your neighbor. Remember how much love he has shown, not only to the Prince Arjuna, but also to the Kuchelan. What do you call that in I don't know, in Hindi, what do you call the name is something different. So the idea is that the universal love which he is preached not just to the human being, not just to your neighbor, not just to your friend, not just to your lover, but even to a plant, to an animal. So that is another philosophy which we all need to practice every day. So the Krishna's universal love message will remain there as long as the humanity exists in this world or this universe exists. I believe, and another thing which we most important learning of the philosophy learning we need to practice and learn, which we all with the modern world try and forget. Maybe may sometimes we preach, but when none of us practice, even those who preach do not practice. Sometimes I feel that the big swamis also preach about the Bhagavad Gita. At the end of the day, as soon as they get out of the stage, they do not practice that. So the practicing the life, that is aligning yourself as a life to the God. How will you align yourself? So a balanced life is what Krishna taught us. A regulated life is what Krishna told us to practice. So a regulated life, how much, I mean, an equal number of time you need to, how much you need to sleep, how much you need to eat, how much you need to work, how much you need to spend for recreation. Today's world, we all know that either you and me are engrossed in our mobile phone, we have a sleeping disorders, we have a working habit wherein we work sometimes 14 hours, sometimes we only work for 2 hours. So there is a balanced life is the philosophy of Krishna. I'm not talking about just the Bhagavad Gita. If you really look at the whole life of Krishna, is all about that balanced life. And finally, the Krishna is telling us two more things. One is the knowledge. What is the knowledge? Because today's educational system, we all know that I was addressing a few days ago an MUN, wherein the modern, model UN, and wherein the whole participants were school teachers and principals. I asked all of them, you are all education, the people who teach or create our students to a good human being. What is the purpose of education? To my utter surprise, the kind of remarks which I have got from all of them would be this, that to make overall creation, to create a good citizen, so on, so forth. But nobody was talking about the education is for knowledge. Nobody was talking about the idea of knowledge. Why do you need knowledge? The idea of knowledge, according to me, and the Krishna tell us that the knowledge is to be you to be pure. If you have a knowledgeable person, you know what is right for you, what is wrong for you, to make you as an individual to be of the purest soul, and finally to know about divine and to reach to the divine. That is what is the knowledge which clearly Krishna tells us, not only in Bhagavad Gita, and through practicing his life, whatever we all got to know from our childhood is the real knowledge. And finally, he says, the yoga, you all need to practice, because the word yoga today means it's only the asanas. For all of us, it's just only the pranayam and but the real meaning of yoga means jodhana. Yoga means togetherness. And what is that togetherness? The togetherness is to make you and Atma and the Paramatma ko milan karna, or rather Advaitam, the Naran or Narayan or Naran, ek hai. That is the kind of message and philosophy. And if we all practice, I'm not saying that is it practically possible for all of us to practice that all in a similar way, but to an extent, even if you do so, I think that gives us a lot of happiness. And the happiness is the one thing which we all are missing in this world. That is the reason there is stress, the religious stress, the countries are fighting for each other. We all know what's happening in the Afghan or in the other places, because they all believed only one thing. What they are saying is right, but not others. But here Krishna says, everybody, Vasudeva Kutumbakam, and that is what we wanted to do. And I think let Krishna, let India guide the world through these messages of the Krishna to make a world a happier and a better place to live. Jai Shri Krishna.
Thank you very much, Mr. PKD Nambiar. And again, you have also tried to analyze, although you have mentioned, and we all know it's not easy to talk about Krishna's philosophy. It's so deep, but whatsoever you have tried and whatsoever you have explained, it is remarkable. And I'm sure today